you get the other cameras? Will you throw to me?
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. Good morning.
Can you throw to me? All right. Weird start to the morning here. We apologize, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, like Leslie was just saying. Sorry that we're getting started late, almost about 10 minutes late. We had a funny thing when we walked in here with the internet. You know what? I was saying it's actually kind of amazing that it hasn't happened to us yet. We made it this many months without any significant issues like this, and we were a little worried about today, but we figured it out, and we're starting a little late, but we're here. And we're thrilled that you are too. So we have a bit of a different lineup today. Rabbi Mas is on holiday for the Shabbat, but we've got the regular band together. Leslie Emery, Bill Wiseman, Marvin Polanski, and all of you. So it's great. It's great to be here. And we appreciate your patience very much. We are really glad that we were able to go forward with today's Shabbat morning service because we've got a lot to celebrate today. Shabbat to begin with, but a number of fantastic celebrations in our Torah service, anniversaries, birthdays, a fantastic Torah reading, a great Haftarah reading, lots to learn together, lots to be inspired by. So yes, in a minute we're going to count our blessings, and I'd say that the fact that technology didn't let us down is one of the blessings that we can count today. But before we get to that, let's open up with Hinei Matovs. You can follow along with our Sidurim, which are on our website, szwinnipeg.ca. If you're watching through YouTube or Facebook, you can chat with us. We check in with the chat periodically throughout the service. And if you're new to our congregation, let us know you're new so we can continue to stay in touch with you today and going forward. Everybody take a deep breath.
We did it.
Okay, good.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Good Shabbos. Let's get this Shabbat started.
I'm with you guys.
Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Shabbat Shalom. It's good to have you all here this morning. And it's nice to see all your names up here on the chat. I'd like to welcome you all. David Wilder, welcome here. Deborah Barenhout's here. Yehuda Cherney, Karen Farkas, Alice Wiseman, Evelyn Hecht, Bonnie Cham, Alina Lashev, Bonnie Robinson, Louis Stern, Fagi Hecht, Yerach Lazarovitz, Leon Pinkovich, Marilyn Pearl, Brenda Dale. Is that you, Brenda Dale? It's been a lot of years. Good to see you here. Good Shabbos. Judy Chirac, Zelda Elkin, Jiku has arrived from India this morning. So good to see you. We have such a lovely group of people to observe Shabbat with us. Welcome to Israel Ben Noon and Lori, Alan and Gloria Cantor, Sarah B., Earl Barish, Phyllis Laveman, chatting her way through the service,
She's becoming an expert.
She is, and life has some hiccups, and it's interesting how I don't think I'm the only one who has, had to stretch a little bit this year in some new directions, step a little out of my comfort zone. But look at us all with technology. I mean, it's pretty cool.
And I'm coming along too, slowly but surely.
Well, Bill he's going to be the tech expert soon. I'll be calling him.
That'll be the day.
Like I said, technology is tricky, but it's also a blessing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We're
going to
still
continue.
have services, yes.
We have our morning blessings on page number 5. You're invited to rise. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasek vivina leavchin ben yom uven laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani betzamo.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chori.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivri.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, mabis harumi.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asuri.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim.
Amen.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, raka haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa li kol tzorki.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei kaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael bigvura.
Amen.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, שנתת בי. טהורה היא, טהורה היא. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוטר ישראל בתפארה.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, הנותן ליעף כוח.
Amen.
אלוהי, אלוהי, נשמה, נשמה,
שנתת בי, שנתת בי.
טהורה היא, טהורה היא. It feels like Shabbat in here now.
Well, that's good.
Does it feel like that at your place? I hope so. You know, it's funny how life throws us these moments and then somehow you catch your peaceful groove again. We're going to continue on page number 8 with Psalm 150.
People can take a seat too.
Absolutely, please.
I always wonder if people are standing up. Some people tell me specifically that they stand up and sit down with us at home. I don't know what I would do.
That's what they tell me too during
I know.
weekdays.
I don't know
They
what I
say
would
they
do.
stand with us.
I mean, I like to think that I would stand up and sit down, but
Well, we know we give them the option if they can, for sure. If they
course.
can, they can
Exactly.
sit, so.
But yes, like Leslie said, we'll keep going with the Psalms. Ready, Leslie?
I'm ready. Hallelujah, Bekocho. Hallelujah, Birkia Uzo. Hallelujah, Bigevurota. Hallelujah, Kerov Kulo. Hallelujah, Beteka Shofar. Hallelujah, Beneva Vechinor. Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah, betofu machol. Hallelujah, beminim veugav. Hallelujah, betziltzalei shama. Hallelujah, betziltzalei trua. Kol anshama tehallelya. Kol anshama tehallelya. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
We invite you to rise for the Mourner's Kaddish, which is on page 46. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, huyaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael V'imru.
Amen.
You may be seated.
We're going to continue on page number 10, Shochenad. Shochenad marom v'kadosh shemo.
Shochenad marom v'kadosh shemo.
Befi yesharim titalal uvedivrei tzadikim titbarach uvilshon chasidim titromam uvekerev kedoshim titkadash. Yitkadash ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'amad yivrak yirutei ve'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'vyom echon u'v'chayei kol beit Yisrael. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh ve'yitadar ve'yitaleh ve'yitalam shemei lekudesha brichu leila min kol birchata ve'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru 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 ve'imeru. Booker Orr, and welcome to Earl Barish, Irene Boxer-Meyerowitz, Stephen Cantor, Rocky Pollock, Rochelle Pinkovich, Peter Valenga, and Josue Selva. It's so good to have you all here this morning. Good Shabbos to you. We are working our way towards the Bar Hu, I believe.
Yes, and today we're going to do the special version, As We Bless.
I love that one. Thank you. We're on page number 12. You're invited to rise wherever you may be and hopefully join us. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And our blessings give us strength and make our vision clear. And our blessings give us peace and the courage to dare. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai
You may be seated, everybody.
Joanne, Saif, it's good to see you and Leo and Sammy here this morning, and Jeff as well. Hello to you all. I can picture you all dancing and davening at your place. Maybe there's some Lego involved. You never know. If you're lucky, you work Lego into your davening experience. It's surprisingly spiritual at times.
I was just thinking that we've kind of eased our way. The dancing is coming. I think Shema will give him a chance to dance. We got one more before the Shema, but
More of a slow sway this morning.
well, we had to ease ourselves back down after being a little bit worried about the technology. But it's been good. You made a comment about that. But the dancing is coming. The dancing is coming.
Hang on, Sammy and Leo, it's coming.
First, we're going to do V'hayar and Enu, though, which is page 13, right?
That's a waltz.
No.
Oh,
Don't start. No.
But you can waltz anytime
I
you
can
like.
waltz anytime. That's right.
This is a safe space. Betoratecha, betoratecha, v'dabek libeinu, b'mitzvotecha, b'mitzvotecha, v'yareinu, betoratecha, betoratecha, v'dabek libeinu, b'mitzvotecha, b'mitzvotecha, v'yachen levaveinu, le'ahava u'lira, bet shemecha v'lo nevosh, le'olam va'ed, v'lo nevosh, le'olam, le'olam va'ed. V'ha'ereinu, betoratecha, betoratecha, v'dabek libeinu, b'mitzvotecha, b'mitzvotecha, ki v'shem kodshecha, hagadol v'hanora, batachnu nagila, v'nizmecha, v'nizmecha, b'shuatecha. V'ha'ereinu, betoratecha, betoratecha, v'dabek libeinu, b'mitzvotecha,
Very nice, Leslie. Lovely.
Thank you.
That's definitely got us in the Shabbat mood.
And now ready to dance.
Yes.
And now ready to dance. The Shema. Page 14? Is that what you have?
You're good. I've got page 14 too.
Well, let's see.
I just found mine.
Too carried away here. Let's see what we can do. Maybe we'll put it.
You're invited to close your eyes or gather your tzitzit at this time, and let's join together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 We're going to continue on page 15, and you shall love. And you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart, and you will teach them diligently unto your children, and you will speak of them when you're sitting in your house, when you are walking by the way, and when you're lying down, and when you're rising up, when you're rising up, and you will bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they will be for frontlets between your eyes, and you will write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Lovely.
Yashir Kochech, Leslie. I love that we get to do that one when you're leading the service. It's Debbie Friedman did a lot of really cool stuff, and that's a great setting of the first paragraph of the Shema. We'll let everyone continue with a little bit of silent reading through the rest of the Shema, but especially that I love that I call it a Paul McCartney chord at the end there. If you think of like Band on the Run, where that chord comes out of nowhere at the very end, I think it's very cool. It just kind of changes the whole feel of that at the end and sets you up for a little bit of silent prayer. So thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Michamocha, page
17.
7. You got it.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osef eleh. Shira chadasha, shibchu geulim l'shimcha, al shvatayam, yachad kulam, oduvim lichu ve'amru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Please rise. Tzur Yisrael, kuma bezrat Yisrael, ufedechinu mecha Yehuda beYisrael, lo aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo kedosh Yisrael. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Baruch atah Adonai Yisrael. We're going to continue on page 18 with the Amida, and you're invited to rise. I'd like to welcome Jayla Goff and family here. Shabbat Shalom. It's always nice when you let us know. Sometimes if I know you and I know there's a kid around, it makes me smile because I love kids. Kids are so important. If you're a kid and you're listening, you are so important, and I love to know that you're there, and I can't wait till we can get back to being at shul together. But in the meantime, I'm happy to be in your house this morning. It's good to see you.
Did you see, speaking of kids, I love that sentiment, Leslie. Did you see that Joanne let us know you were talking about Lego? And I do want to revisit the spiritualization of Lego in a future service or maybe a class, because I think there's something there. And I have Lego experts. I have a friend for whom I buy Lego as a birthday gift every year, and he doesn't go to bed until the night after, like he builds it on the spot. And my sister has gotten really into Lego. It's one of her pandemic discoveries. But what was it that Joanne had said? That's what I was looking for, that they had created a drive-in service. I thought that was very clever.
I kind of wanted to name the people at the Minyan when I saw that. In my mind, I was thinking, okay, who's at the Playmobil Minyan? Is Sam there? Jerome, Yerach, Jackie? Who's there? Terry? I'm just giving you guys some inspiration.
Roberto?
Who has the dirtiest car at the drive-in service? Is going to be Rabbi Matthew, probably. Who has you park at the other end of the parking lot, so I don't see your car. But is your car in rough shape?
I had no idea. Yeah. Look, it's been kind of slushy out lately. We've been lucky. It got a little messy on the car.
And everyone's a little bit weird about going to the drive or to like get your car washed right now. Like I usually go to I can't remember what it's called, where they go in the car and they do
the chamois.
Well, yeah, and it's
one
not
of
that
those
one.
ones,
It's another.
no?
It's one of. It's like the
It's been a while. Yeah, you got to do your own.
Well, nobody wants to have a car that's an ice cube. That's why they're so.
That's right. That's right.
It could go either way in Winnipeg.
Anyway, before this tangent proves to take us in any more of a direction, why don't we, like you were saying, bring us back to the Amidar standing prayer on page 18?
Please have your Playmobil standing and rise, and we will join together on page 18. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chazdei Avot, U'mevi Goel Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayem etim atah, Rav le'Hoshia, Mashiv ha'ruach u'morid ha'geshem.
Wait.
That's better. Thank you. Mechakel chaim v'chesed, mechaye metim v'rachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofech cholim u'matir asurim, u'mekayem emunato lishenei afar, mi chamocha bal gevurot, u'midom elach, melech memit u'mechaye u'matzmiach Yeshua. V'nemanata l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hametim. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto, Bishmei Marom, Kakatuv hayad Nevi'echa, V'karazel zeh V're'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech haaretz kevodo. Az bekorash gadol, adir v'chazak mashmim kol, midnasim lumat serafim, lumatam baruch yomeru. Baruch kevod Adonai mimekomo.
Bill, this is your waltz.
Thank you. I wish Alice was here.
Mimkomecha malkeinu, malkeinu tovia, v'timloch aleinu, ki mechakim anachnu lach. Matai, 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 timloch b'tzion, bekarov, bekarov beyameinu, leolam va'ed tishkon, titkadav v'titkadosh, betoch Yerushalayim הדבר האמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך.
Thank you.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, hallelujah.
Dorvador, page 22.
לדור ודור. That sounds funny to me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Thought you were going to see how high I could sing.
Well, we already had that experience in V'hayar Einenu.
Talk about
Why don't you
challenge.
tell me? Why don't you sing for me where you want to start it, and I'll find
That
you.
sounds good.
Even though that was what we did with V'hayar Einenu, just for the record. Why don't you tell me where you want it started?
לדור ודור.
Okay. That makes a little more sense. Like there?
Yeah, that sounds comfortable. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול, כי המלך גדול, וקדוש אתה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. B'shir kochech to Leslie Emery for a beautiful Shacharit service. It was an honor.
Yeah, thank you.
I like getting to play for you. And to thank you to Bill singing along, and to all of you for singing along as well. We've now hit that part of the Amidah where we invite you to take a few moments for your own words of prayer. And as Rabbi Mas always reminds us, if the Hebrew or the English of the Siddur don't resonate, don't waste this opportunity. Use your own words of prayer and find a way to make them count in that special way. The Amidah is our private audience before God, and so we can treat it with that. You can follow in the Siddur or use your own words of prayer. We'll take a few minutes for it now.
page 32, Kaddish Shalem. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ועלמא דברי קירותי והמליך מלכותי בחיי חונים ימיכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו.
Amen. יהי שמי רבה מבורך. לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמא ויאמרו.
אמן.
תתקבל צאתון ובאותון דכל ישראל, קדם אבואון וישמע ויאמרו.
אמן.
יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו. אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו.
Amen. Again, I'll say Yasher Kochech to Leslie Emery for leading us beautifully through Shacharit. And Leslie's going to keep going as we keep going into the Torah service now, page 33.
I am. For those of you who are commenting on missing the family service, I miss everybody at the family service too. But it's nice to know you're all here online this morning and you can have all the toys you like from home with you at the same time. I'm imagining a very festive atmosphere at your home. We're going to continue with the Torah service, page 33. You're invited to rise. Vayehi bin Aaron, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, veyafutzu oivecha, veyanusu mesanecha mipanecha.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlul Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai
Hagedula ve'agevura ve'atiferet ve'anetzach ve'ahor. Kicho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Kicho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai ha'mamlacha ve'amin naseh lechol erosh.
Romemu,
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 Romemu.
Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtachavu,
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 Ve'ishtachavu.
Le'adam raglav kadosh hu. Romemu,
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 Romemu.
Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtachavu,
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 Ve'ishtachavu.
Lehar kodsho ki kadosh Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
You may be seated. Leslie is going to continue with a little bit of Torah reading for us to start off our morning as we switch gears and move into the reading of this week's Parsha, which is Miketz. Parshat Miketz. And as I've mentioned, we're working through the second year of the triennial cycle, which means we're in the middle of all these Parshiot. The context to get you situated between last week and this week is actually quite easy. It's a very, very familiar part of the Torah. Last week, the last 2 weeks, I mentioned that we had this opportunity in triennial year number 2 to read stories that kind of interrupt the flow of the familiar stories involving the first family of the Torah, if we can call them that. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and especially Yaakov's family. And then here at the end of the book of Genesis, in the last several parshiot, we really focus on Jacob's favorite son, Yosef. So last week in the full parsha was the story of Yosef, the young dreamer, alienating his brothers. They, fake his death, throw him into a pit, sell him into slavery, ends up in Egypt. This whole business with Potiphar's wife, he ends up in jail. He starts interpreting dreams of other people who are prisoners. He proves the skill of interpreting dreams. The one guy has a dream, and he ends up having a favorable outcome. The other guy has a dream not so good. Joseph is bang on. And in the first part of this parsha, what we don't read today, Pharaoh is having these dreams he's been having for a long time. None of his interpreters can get it right. And finally, word comes from the guy that he had saved. There's a fellow in prison who can interpret dreams. Joseph brings him, interprets Pharaoh's dream. 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. Bang on. Joseph was bang on. And that's where we pick up the story today, in the middle of Parshat Miketz. So we're going to switch books. If you've got a copy of our Chumash, or Etz Chaim Chumash, it looks like this. Big red book. If not, don't worry. We upload all of our weekly Torah readings to our website, szwinnipeg.ca. Click on the link for the Chumash, and you can follow along with us. If you have the Etz Chaim Chumash, either PDF format or an actual copy, we are on page 257. As I mentioned, we're in the book of Genesis. Today's reading starts at the very end of chapter 41. Genesis, chapter 41, verses 53 to 57. And then we'll move into all of chapter 42 and a little bit of chapter 43 as well. Today is a little bit of a different Shabbat morning. If you're just joining us, again, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Rabbi Mas, we gave him a Shabbat, much-deserved Shabbat off. And as a result, we've got the three of us, Leslie Emery, Bill Wiseman, and Marvin Polanski is here, of course. And we're going to do it. So because of this, I'm going to be doing the Devar Torah a little bit later on. And I want to really kind of tie some of the comments from this Parsha into that Devar Torah. So I'll drop a few crumbs, as they say in storytelling, along the way to kind of lead to our little recap with our Devar Torah, which will also hopefully bring the Haftarah together. Some really fascinating stories that we get to study and learn from today. And I don't want to do too much talking during the Torah reading because, as I alluded to earlier, we have a number of fantastic celebrations. Looking at it right here, 1, 2, 3, at least 4 Misha Berachs. Yes. So because Rabbi Mas is not here, after Leslie reads for the first 2 aliyot, she'll make her way to the back. She'll become our Zoom moderator, so to speak, and let the people who are doing Zoom aliyot later on in the Torah reading in, and then you can do it from there, and she'll coordinate with you. Be patient. She reminds me to be patient. But in the meantime, Leslie's going to start reading for us. So there we go. 7 years of plenty, and then the 7 years of famine are going to hit, but Egypt is prepared because Joseph had been the interpreter of the dreams, and now he gets basically to be promoted to Pharaoh's second in command, his vizier. Great word. Right-hand man. And we'll see what happens because it's going to lead to a reunion with his brothers who haven't seen him in 20 years since they last tossed him in a pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites. Page 257, chapter 41, verses 53 through 57. Bill Wiseman, we got one open aliyah. I'm going to toss it your way. Are you cool with this?
I'm cool, yes.
Very good.
Just to remind you, I won't see you until the new year after that.
That's right. Bill's about to go on a much-needed break too, but we still got him for today, thankfully. V'yazor v'yem yashil l'chol ha'chosim bo v'namar amen. Hakol avu godel Eloheinu t'nuch v'l'torah ya'amor. Zevarye ben Michael Alevi v'chayed ol aliyah rishona. Baruch shenatan tromo Yisrael b'kedushato. Ve'atem madvegim b'Adonai Elohechem. Chaim kolchem hayom.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. Venatan lanu et torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. ותכלנה שבע שני הסבה אשר היה בארץ מצרים ותכלנה שבע שני הרעב לבוא כאשר אמר יוסף ויהי רעב בכל הארצות ובכל ארץ מצרים היה לכם ותירב כל ארץ מצרים ויצעק העם אל פרעה ללחם ויאמר פרעה לכל מצרים לכו אל יוסף אשר יאמר לכם תעשו. והרעב היה על כל פני הארץ ויפתח יוסף את כל אשר בהם וישבור למצרים וחזק הרעב בארץ מצרים וכל הארץ באו מצרימה לשבור אל יוסף כי חזק הרעב בכל הארץ.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Thank you for the honor, Rabbi.
Yasher Koach, Bill.
Yasher koach.
Rachtia.
Thank you for everything you do and a much deserved and good rest
Thank you.
coming your way. We move on to Sheni, Yasher Kochach, to Leslie Emery as well, who will read one more for us. Sheni, our second aliyah, page 258, Genesis chapter 42, verses 1 through 5. Chapter 42 makes up the bulk of today's reading. First verses 1 through 5, famine everywhere, including Canaan. This gives us the motive, or gives the brothers the motive to have to head down to Egypt. Our second aliyah, Sheni, is verses 1 through 5, and our honorary honoree is Morley Rip. Ya'amod Moshe ben Yosel Alevi v'Rivka l'aliyah hashniah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Vaed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
אמן. וירא יעקב כי יש שבר במצרים, ויאמר יעקב לבניו למה תתראו? ויאמר הנה שמעתי כי יש שבר במצרים, רדו שמה ושברו לנו משם ונחיה ולא נמות. וירדו אחרי יוסף 10 לשבור בר ממצרים, ואת בנימין אחי יוסף לא שילח יעקב את אחיו, כי אמר פן יקראנו אסון. ויבואו בני ישראל לשבור בתוך הבאים, כי אדוני כי היה הרעב בארץ כנען.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yasher Koach to Morley Rip, our second honoree, our honorary honoree. Is a yortzeit for his uncle Julius Rip. May his memory be a blessing to you, Morley. As I mentioned, we've got a number of celebrations in the Aliyot coming here to follow, starting with a birthday Aliyah up next. Yasher Kochech to Leslie Emery for 2 Torah readings this morning. Great job. Thank you so much. Leslie is now going to be our Zoom welcomer. We need a better term. And I'm going to slide up to the to the lectern myself, to the podium. Continue with the Torah reading. We have a birthday celebration for David Rosner with our next Aliyah. He didn't want to do the Zoom, which is totally fair. But we're thrilled that he wanted to mark his birthday, a special occasion. We're always thrilled when people have special occasions as part of the Torah service. And today is no exception with a number of them. Our story continues, page 258. Chapter 42, verses 6 through 18 for this next Aliyah, which is Shlishi, the third Aliyah. The brothers have been told by their dad, go to Egypt, get the food. But he won't send Binyamin. There are a lot of callbacks in this parsha and what we read today to what we didn't read, but we're probably pretty familiar with, I hope, especially because of the musical from last week and the whole Joseph story. Jacob singling out one of his sons. In this case, it used to be Yosef. In this case, Binyamin. Remember, Yosef and Binyamin were the 2 sons of Rachel, Jacob's favorite wife. That was part of what got Joseph in trouble with his brothers in the first place, Jacob giving him the coat, the gifts, showing him favoritism. Here, he favors Binyamin for a bit of a different reason. He's already lost one of Rachel's sons, and he doesn't want to lose, so he sends the 10 brothers who are left, but not Binyamin. This will become a significant plot point. And it is interesting that it is the first, and watch for these, of several callbacks to earlier episodes in the story. Remember, it's been 20 years since the incident when Joseph was 17 and his brothers turned on him, threw him in a pit, faked his death to their dad, and have no idea what happened to him. We do, but they don't. 20 years. And so it's significant in the story that there's a lot of callbacks to the first event, starting off with Jacob singling out one of his sons. I mentioned it's David Rosner's birthday. He's marking that with his Aliyah, an honorary Aliyah this morning. Happy birthday to you, David. We'll do a Misha Berach after the reading, which again is page 258, verses 6 through 18. Ya'amo David ben Yeshia Levi v'lava l'Aliyah ha'shlishit.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Vorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai vorach leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'Yosef hu hashalit al haaretz hu hamashbir lecholam haaretz vayavo achei Yosef vayishtachavu lo apayim arza vayar Yosef erecha vayakirem vayitnaker alehem vayidaber itam kashot vayomer alehem me'ayin batem vayomru me'eretz Canaan lishbor ochel vayaker Yosef erechav vehem lo hikiruhu vayiskor Yosef et hachalomot asher chalam lahem vayomer alehem meraglim atem lirod et ervad aretz batem vayomru elav lo adoni vavadecha ba'u lishbor ochel כולנו בני איש אחד, אנחנו כנים אנחנו, לא היו עבדיך מרגלים, ויאמר עליהם לא, כי ערוות הארץ באתם לראות, ויאמרו 12 עבדיך אחים אנחנו, בני איש אחד בארץ כנען, והנה הקטון את אבינו היום, והאחד איננו. ויאמר עליהם יוסף הוא, אשר דיברתי עליכם לאמור מרגלים אתם, בזאת תיבחנו, פרעה אם תצאו מזה, כי בבוא אחיכם הקטון הנה, שלחו מכם אחד, ויקח את אחיכם, ואתם העשרו, ויבחנו דבריכם האמת אתכם. ואם לא חי פרעה, כי מרגלים אתם. ויאסוף אותם אל משמר 3 ימים, ויאמר עליהם יוסף ביום השלישי, זאת עשו וחיו את האלוהים אני ירא.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. David Rosner, happy birthday. Many happy returns of the day. Mazel tov and yasher koach. It's an honor to chant this Misha Berach for you on this special occasion. Misha Berach avotenu Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sar Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yevarech et David ben Yeshia halevi v'lava she'ala hayom lichvod hamakom v'lichvod haTorah v'lichvod haShabbat ulehodot al kol hachasadim asher gamalo Elohim miyom hivaldo ad hayom hazeh HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmor tov et kol mishpachto v'yishlach bracha v'chatzlacha v'chol masei yadav Im ko Yisrael lecha v'nomar Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, bless David Rosner, David ben Yeshia Halevi V'Lava, who has come for an aliyah this morning with reverence for God and with respect for Torah and for the Shabbat, grateful to God for the gift of life which he has enjoyed until this day. David, may the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be God, bless you with length of years, good health, the pleasures of Torah study, and the profound satisfaction that comes from a life of Ma'asim Tovim, a life of good deeds. In celebrating this and other birthdays, may your example remind us, people may count the days of their life, but a person of wisdom makes every day count. Again, happy birthday. Ad mea v'esrim, Mazel Tov, and let us all say, Amen. Simin Tovu, Mazel Tovu, Mazel Tov, Simin Tov, Simin Tovu, Mazel Tovu, Mazel Tov, Simin Tov, Simin Tovu, Mazel Tovu, Mazel Tov, Simin Tov, Yehelanu, 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 Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov. Just a quick backstory. David called us at home and wanted to know about birthdays, so Alice encouraged him to do this.
Oh, great.
So thank you, Alice. And David, many, many happy returns.
One day I'm going to convince David to do it when we're back together in person. Convince David to do his birthday aliyah dressed up in one of his old clown costumes.
Oh, wouldn't that be neat?
You know he did that.
Oh, of course. I
did
knew
a lot of
that.
clowning
I was a
around.
clown many years ago.
Literally
too. Yeah,
clowning around.
I know.
And I love that kind of stuff. I think it'll be
he's
fun.
very good, by the way. He's really good.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well,
So
happy birthday, David.
Happy birthday.
All the best. And thank you. I'm glad that the Weissmans were able to convince you to do this. It's a great thing, even when we can't be together, to be able to sing. We got a lot of singing coming, lots of celebrations. It's awesome. On to 4th Aliyah and the Zoom madness will begin. Leslie's ready. We're Were those your fingers crossed, or are you giving me a thumbs up? It's both. We go from a birthday celebration to an anniversary celebration here with Rivi E, our fourth Aliyah this morning. Page 260 in the Etz Chaim Chumash. Page 260, that is. Chapter 42, working our way through chapter 42, now with verses 19 through 28. Lorne Bellin and Bonnie Cham are celebrating their anniversary with us this morning, joining us on Zoom. We'll call them in just a moment. The story, I told you I have to drop a few little breadcrumbs for you, but also to remind me where I'm trying to go with the Dvar Torah. Lots of callbacks. Remember, Yosef immediately remembers that dream from 20 years before, where his brothers would one day be bowing down to him. Here they are. They arrive. They don't know it's him, though. Remember last week we talked about one of the connections between the Judah and Tamar story was this expression, haker na, haker, hey, kaf, resh. That's the shoresh, the root in Hebrew for recognize. Lahakir, ani makir oto. I know him. I recognize him. That's the way we use it in modern Hebrew. In the Tanakh, there's only 2 instances at all in the Tanakh of this expression, haker na. Please recognize or please examine these. Last week it was when Judah with Tamar, when she said, look at these things that the guy left behind. He's the father. And Judah knew in that moment that it had been him, not realizing he had been with his daughter-in-law Tamar. And it called back to earlier when Jacob was presented with the bloody technicolor coat by his brothers, haker na, look at this coat, implying that Joseph had died. In that, what we just read, you see it different forms of this verb lahakir, in the fact that Joseph recognizes his brothers, but his brothers do not recognize him. This theme of recognition is very important in this parsha, in Miketz. I think that's all I needed to say for that one. Yep. Let's keep reading. Again, page 260, verses 19 through 28. Ya'amdu Bela ban Moshe v'Shulamit ve'Aryeh ben Ruvain ve'Rachel Aliyah harvi'it. We can see them, but we can't hear them, okay?
I wonder if they're,
They're accidentally muted. Lauren.
Bonnie, can you say hello? Oh, I can see Lauren talking. Well, it's nice to see you both this morning. You're looking good. I wish I could hear you, too.
Is your computer unmuted? No, but their computer. Theirs is? Okay.
Give us a second.
Yep.
We're working on it.
I can do a proxy if you want.
Sure. So we can't, unfortunately, we don't know why, but we can't hear Bonnie and Lauren, but we can see them, or you can all see them. So we know they're celebrating their anniversary, and we're going to keep trying to see if we can fix this for our upcoming Zoom Aliyot, but we will recite the blessings for you, unless things straighten themselves out. But for now, Bill Wiseman, take it away.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai vorach leolam vaed. Baruch ata Adonai אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה.
אמן. אם כן אם אתם אחיכם אחד יעשר בבית משמרכם, ואתם לכו הביאו שבר עוון בתיכם, ואחיכם הקטון תביאו אלי, ויאמנו דבריכם ולא תמותו, ויעשו כן, ויאמרו איש אל אחיו, אבל אשמים אנחנו על אחינו, אשר ראינו צרת נפשו, והתחננו אלינו ולא שמענו, על כן באה אלינו הצרה הזאת, ויען ראובן אותם לאמור, הלא אמרתי עליכם לאמור, אל תחטאו בילד ולא שמעתם, וגם דמו הנה נדרש, והם לא ידעו כי שומע יוסף כי המליץ בנותם, ויסוב מעליהם ויבק, וישוב עליהם וידבר עליהם, ויקח מאיתם את שמעון, ויסור אותו לעיניהם, ויצב יוסף, וימלאו את כליהם בהר, ולהשיב כספיהם איש אל שקו, ולתת להם צידה לדרך, ויעש להם כן. ויישאו את שברם על חמוריהם וילכו משם, ויפתח האחד את שקו לתת מספו לחמור במלון, וירא את כספו והנה הוא בפי אמתחתו, ויאמר אל אחיו הושב כספי וגם הנה באמתחתי, ויצא ליבם ויחרדו איש אל אחיו לאמור, מה זאת עשה אלוהים לנו.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Well, to Bonnie and Lauren, I'm so sorry that we were not able to hear you. We were able to see you. We know you're there, and it's great, I know, for so many people able to see each other. So thank you for that. Continue to try and work this out. In the meantime, though, please let us give you this special Misha Berach on this anniversary. I've been around, and I don't think, I'm not sure, but I don't think Lauren and Bonnie have ever missed December celebrating their anniversary, and it's a privilege that I've been able to share in the celebration of so many of these anniversaries, and another one is no exception. So thank you for the honor of giving you this blessing on another milestone anniversary. Misha Berach, Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sar Rivka Rachel v'Leah, Hu Yavarech et Bela Moshe v'Shulamit, ve'Aryeh ben Reuven ve'Rachel, ba'avur shabao hayom, lehodot l'shem kodsho kol hachesed asher gamal lahem miyom chatunatam, u'miyom simchat libam ad hayom hazeh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmerem v'yatzilem, mikol tzara v'tzukal mikol nego machala, v'shlach bracha v'tzacha b'chol ma'aseh yedehem im kol Yisrael achehem, v'nomar amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, bless Bonnie and Lauren, who are here today with gratitude for all the blessings their years together have afforded them. To both of you we say, may the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be God, continue to protect and deliver you. May you continue to enjoy God's blessings in the new song of your years to come, so that you may always live in joy and gladness, sason v'simcha, and in peace and companionship. Shalom v're'ut. Happy anniversary. Mazel tov. Let us all say, Amen. Od yeshama behare Yehuda uvechutzot Yerushalayim. Od yeshama behare Yehuda uvechutzot Yerushalayim. Kol sason vekol simcha, kol chatan vekol kala. Kol sason vekol simcha, kol chatan vekol kala. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
This
Many happy
group on
returns.
Zoom is like, there's some dancing and celebrating going on at home for your anniversary, Bonnie and Lauren. It's so good to see you guys this morning.
We can't hear them still though, huh?
No, but they look great.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary. Wishing you both the very best.
Is the hearing thing, is it an our issue or a their issue?
It's an our issue, I think. But
So
we
does
are
that-
working on it as we go.
Okay, so coming up next for Chamishi, as we get back to the Torah reading for the fifth Aliyah, Chamishi, we have Karen Farkas joining us. I know you had said that she was there. Are we going to be able to hear Karen for her Aliyah? We're about to find out, which is good to know. Just to set you up, as the Torah reading continues, Chamishi, the fifth, begins on page 262. If you're following through the Etz Chaim, that's 262. If it's a different Chumash you have, still chapter 42, verses 29 through 38. 29 through 38. The focus here being that Joseph, we have the perspective that the brothers do not have. That's the irony. That's what they call it in storytelling, dramatic irony. We know that Joseph is messing with them, that he's created this ruse. Some people think that the ruse is cruel, that he's trying to torment or humiliate or embarrass his brothers. I don't think so. In fact, that moment where he has to leave the room because he's so overcome with emotion proves that it's not really about that. He's trying, and I'll argue this coming up in the Devar, he's trying to see if they've changed. And he puts them to a test that is very reminiscent. It calls back to before, where a brother was singled out from the group. That was Joseph himself. And now Binyamin is singled out, but he's also going to single out another brother, Shimon, to be left behind. What are the brothers going to have to do now that they're chosen? They're separated from a brother here in Egypt. They have to go back, get another brother. It's all about, dividing the brothers and seeing how they rally around each other. And Joseph wants to see what they're going to do. And if they are, in fact, going to go back and bring Benjamin, his legitimate full brother, remember? Joseph, whom he hasn't seen 20 years, along with the rest of them. So that's kind of what's at play here. Oh, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to hear our Zoom participants. We're so sorry about that. But we will still call Karen and our future Aliyot this morning and make the Misha Berachs where they are appropriate for the different occasions. And we hope that when we get this straightened out, that we can have you back for another Zoom Aliyah in the not-too-distant future.
But if we can see them,
But I think we can see them.
then they should join me. I'll slow down so you can join me.
Perfect. Page 262, verses 29 through 38. Karen Farkas is our next honoree. Ta'amod Chanaleah bat Avraham u'Miriam Ruth Laliyah Chamishit.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Amvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam vaed. Baruch ata Adonai. Excuse me. Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. Venatan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai. Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayavo el Yaakov avihem arza Canaan. Vayagidu lo et kol hakorot otam lemor. Diber haish adoni haaretz itanu kashot. Vayiten otanu kim raglim et aretz. Vanomer elav kenim anachnu lo hayinu meraglim shnei masar anachnu achim bnei avinu haechad einenu v'akaton hayom et avinu beretz Canaan vayomer eleinu haish adonai haaretz bezot edah ki chenim atem achichem haechad hanichu oti iti v'ravon batechem kechu v'alechu v'haviu et achichem akaton elai v'da ki lo meraglim atem ki chenim atem et achichem eten lachem v'aretz tischaru vayehi merikim sakehem v'heineish saror kaspo besako vayiru et srorot kaspehem hemav avihem vayirau vayomer alehem Yaakov avihem oti shikaltem Yosef einenu v'Shimon einenu v'et Binyamin tikachu alai hayu chulana vayomer Reuven el aviv lemor et shnei vanai tamid im lo avienu elecha tana oti al yadi vani ashivenu elecha vayomer lo yered beni imachem ki achiv meit vehu levado nishar ukra'ahu ason baderech asher telchuva v'horadetem et sevati biyagon sheolah.
Karen, I think we can hear you.
Oh, that's nice. If Karen's there.
Oh,
Oh,
hello.
great. Well done to Leslie and to Marvin. And Karen, if you could take us home with the closing blessings, that would be wonderful.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tzochenu Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Asher kokech.
Asher kochech to Karen. I'm so glad we were able to straighten this out and hear you.
This did you say that this was for my father and my brother?
I did not. I didn't know that.
This is for the yortzites of my father, who passed away on the 6th of Tevet, and my brother, who passed away on the 10th of Tevet.
That's Abe, your father, and Richard, your brother. I'm reading that now. Well, thank you for honoring both of their memories with this aliyah. I'm really glad that we were able to hear you, at least for the second half, and sorry about the first half, but thank you for mentioning that. May their memories continue to be a blessing. It's a nice moment. We worked it out, which is good news as we keep going through the Torah service. Sorry to Bonnie and Lauren. Hopefully we'll be able to do a do-over, maybe next week or something like that. The Misha Bera still counts, though. And we've got another celebration coming up. Our 6th aliyah is next, Shishi. Page 263, we move into chapter 43. Page 263, chapter 43, verses 1 through 7. Celebrating his birthday, joining us on Zoom for this 6th aliyah is Stephen Cantor. We can see him? We can hear him?
We can see him?
Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Yamohod Shmuel Yehuda ben Elukim Pesach V'Gitol Shendo Lalia Hashishit.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Ambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'hara'av kaved ba'aretz v'yehi kasher kulo lechol et hashever asher heviu mimitzrayim v'yomer alehem avihem shuvu shivru lanu me'at ochel v'yomer elav Yehuda lemor Haed Heid. Banu haish lemor lo tiru fanai bilti achichem itchem im yeshcha meshalach et achinu itanu nerda v'nishbera lecha ochel v'im eincha meshaleach lo nered ki haish amar elenu lo tiru fanai bilti achichem itchem vayomer Yisrael, lama hareotem li lehagid laish haod lachem ach vayomru shao shal haish lanu moladetenu lemor haod avichem chai haish lachem ach vanaged lo al pi advarim Haele hayado aneda ki yomar horidu et achichem.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Stephen, I want to wish you a happy birthday, a Yasher Koach and a Mazel Tov, and give you this special blessing on the occasion of your birthday. Misha Beirach, Avotenu, Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarivka Rachel v'Leah, Hu Yevarech et Shmuel Yehuda, Ben Elokim Pesach v'Gidol Shendo, שעלה היום לכבוד המקום ולכבוד התורה ולכבוד השבת, ולהודות על כל החסדים אשר גמלו אלוהים מיום היוולדו עד היום הזה. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור אותו ואת כל משפחתו, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשי ידיו, עם כל ישראל אחיו, ונאמר אמן. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, bless Stephen Cantor, who has come for an aliyah this morning with respect for God and with reverence for God and respect for the Torah and the Shabbat, grateful to God for the gift of life which he has enjoyed until this day. Stephen, to you we say, may the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be God, continue to bless you with length of years, good health, the pleasures of Torah study, and the profound satisfaction that comes from a life of Ma'asim Tovim, a life of good deeds. In celebrating this and other birthdays, may your example continue to remind us. People may count the days of their life, but a person of wisdom makes every day count. Again, happy birthday to you, Mazel Tov, Yasher Koach, and let us all say,
Amen.
Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Yehelanu, 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 Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Ad Mea V'Asrim. Happy birthday again. Many happy returns and Mazel Tov, Stephen.
Happy birthday, Stephen. It's so good to see you.
Happy birthday and hear you. Many, many happy returns, Stephen.
I love hearing Stephen do the Aliyah for sure. It always gives a gusto, a performance with gusto.
Absolutely.
May this birthday be one with gusto as well. We have a seventh Aliyah and then a maftir. We had so many celebrations. We've got another birthday. Jerome Foman is going to join us for the Shvi'i Aliyah, the seventh Aliyah, coming up next. Page 264, chapter 43, verses 8 through 15. Just before I call him, I'll just make a quick note. Remember, last week we got a story involving Judah. The whole Joseph narrative not only elevates Joseph as among the brothers, and later on when the north kingdom was really Ephraim, but that's a tribute to Joseph in prominence in the society, but also Yehudah becomes the southern kingdom. Remember, Judah also, right? He's elevated among the brothers. Reuven is the oldest. Reuven is useless. Reuven earlier today, remember what I told you guys that we needed to help him when he was in the pit? Great. Super. You're really helpful right now. And then they go back to Jacob, and Reuven says, if we don't bring back Shimon, if we don't bring back Binyamin, you can kill my sons. One of the Midrash says, Jacob turned to him and says, aren't your sons my sons? Basically, you idiot. Come on. Reuven really blows it as the oldest, right? That's one of the themes of Genesis, that the oldest brother is constantly being supplanted by a younger brother. And here, not only does Joseph kind of rise among his brothers, but Judah. You see, it's Judah here who goes forward, and he is going to make, and we're going to see it continue. He's the one kind of trying to soften Jacob, their father, and get Jacob to agree to let Binyamin come with us. If we don't bring Binyamin, we can't go back, because he's not sending us back with food, right? So we got to go. And then in the next parsha, which kind of closes this whole story, Vayigash, he approached. It was Judah. It'll be Judah who approaches Joseph when there's a whole situation with the missing goblet trying to work the whole thing. So Judah also has a significant elevation among the brothers as a result of this whole episode and this whole story. And we see that kind of right here. But let's go to this seventh Aliyah. Again, page 264, verses 8 through 15. Jerome Foman is our next honoree, joining us on Zoom to mark his birthday. Yamohod Zeleg ben Ephraim v'Golda l'Aliyah hashvi'it. Zeleg ben Ephraim v'Golda l'Aliyah hashvi'it.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Jerome. We're ready when you are.
Maybe, Jerome, maybe turn off your computer. Maybe turn off your...
I just want to say one thing. I love...
Not mute, just turn down your volume maybe, and then we won't hear us.
There we go. That's better.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to say one thing. I love when I hear Rabbi Mas Duga's service, but I really, really like when I get to do harmony and sing with Leslie, because her level, her key is exactly where I like to be. And I don't have to tighten up my shorts.
Jerome,
nice.
I miss you too.
That's nice. Thanks, Jerome.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Yehuda el Yisrael Aviv Shilcha hanar iti v'nakuma v'nelecha unchaye v'lo namud gam anachnu gam ata gam tapenu anochi ervenu miadi tevakshenu im lo havioti v'lecha v'tzagtiv lefanecha v'chatati lecha koyamim ki lulei hitmamanu ki ata shavnu zephamayim vayomer alehem Yisrael avihem im kenefo zodasu kechu mizimrat haaretz bichlechem ve'horidu la'ish mincha me'at sorim me'at dvash nechod valod botnim ushkedim v'chesef mishne kechu b'yedchem v'et hakesef amusha befi amtachtechem tashivu b'yedchem ulai mishkehu v'rachichem kechu v'rachichem kechu v'rachichem kachu v'kumu shuvu el ha'ish ve'el shaddai iten lachem rachamim lifnei ha'ish v'shilach lachem erachichem acher ve'et binyamin v'ani kasher shacholti shachalti vayichu hanashim et amincha hazot umishne chesef lachu v'yadam ve'et binyamin vayakumu vayerdu mitzrayim vayamdu lifnei Yosef.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. A happy birthday to you, Jerome. Mazel tov and Yasher Koach. Amev Esrim. Many happy returns of the day. Great to be able to see you and to hear you. And we want to give you this special Misha Berach on the occasion of your birthday. Misha Berach Avotenu Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sar Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yevarech et Zelek ben Ephraim v'Golda She'ala hayom lichvod hamakom v'lichvod Shabbat v'lichvod haTorah Ulehodot al kol hachasadim asher gamalo Elohim miyom hivaldo ad hayom hazeh Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yishmor Oto ve'kol mishpachto Vishlach bracha v'tzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yadav Im kol Yisrael echa v'nomar Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Sar, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, bless Jerome Foman, who has come for an aliyah this morning with reverence for God and respect for the Torah, grateful to God for the gift of life which he has enjoyed until this day. Jerome, to you we say, may the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be God, continue to bless you with length of years, with good health, with the pleasures of Torah study, and with the profound satisfaction that comes from a life of Maasim Tovim, a life of good deeds. In celebrating this and other birthdays, may your example continue to remind us people may count the days of their life, but a person of wisdom makes every day count. And let us say, Amen. Simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov v'simen tov. Simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov v'simen tov. Simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov v'simen tov. Yehei lanu, yehei lanu, yehei lanu. U'lecho Ulecho Yisrael. Yehilanu, Yehilanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yehilanu, Yehilanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yehilanu, Yehilanu, Ulecho Yisrael.
Many, many happy returns, Jerome.
Yom
Jerome,
Huledet Sameach, Jerome.
Jerome, is it the gloves that gives the look that you were looking for?
What's that?
Yes, it does.
He
Well,
said,
Jerome talked about ordering some gloves earlier
yeah,
on in the
Jerome
pandemic.
said here in his chat that he said, I'm wearing my Michael Jackson look.
Oh, right. I think that's more of the all black he was talking about than
Maybe
the gloves.
that's what it is.
Could have been.
But that's all right.
Jerome, many
it's so
happy
good
returns.
to see you. Many, many, many happy good things, I hope, coming your way. Take care.
A mazel tov to all of our birthday celebrants. Maybe that's not the right word. People celebrating their birthday. We had Jerome, of course, and Stephen, and as well David Rosner. Happy birthday to all of you. Happy anniversary again to Lauren and to Bonnie and to Karen and to Morley, who were commemorating very, very special memories of people they've lost, of Yortzites in their lives. Thank you for joining us for the Torah service as well. Thank you to Leslie and Marvin for hanging in there. We've got one aliyah to go. Our maftir, our Haftarah reader this morning, Rocky Pollock, is going to join us for this final aliyah, page 264, verses 11 through 15. Recapping the end there of what we just read, as Yehuda proves successful in his ability to convince their father, and Jacob sends them with gifts and with Binyamin to go back and get their other brother Shimon and to get some more food. So Rocky joins us on Zoom. Can we see him? Can we hear him? Are we good? We'll just make sure, Rocky, when you are doing it so we don't have any of the feedback, you can turn down your volume on your computer so we don't hear ourselves. I think that should make it pretty good. We'll call Rocky for this Maftir Aliyah, again, page 264, verses 11 through 15. Yamohod Rachmiel ben Chaim Yitzchak Halevi v'Nachama Maftir Chazak.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer alehem Yisrael avihem im kein efo zorasu kechu mizimrat haaretz bichlechem vehoridu leish mincha me'at sori u'me'at dvash nechod valot bonim ushkedim בונים ושקדים וכסף משנה קחו בידכם ואת הכסף המושב בפי אמתחותיכם תשיבו בידכם אולי משכהו ואת אחיכם קחו וקומו שובו אל האיש ואל שדי ייתן לכם רחמים לפני האיש ושילח לכם את אחיכם אחר ואת בנימין ואני כאשר שכלתי וייכו אנשים את המנחה הזאת ומשנה כסף לקחו בידם ואת בנימין ויקומו וירדו מצרים ויעמדו לפני יוסף.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yeshua Rocky. Rocky will be chanting the Haftarah for us coming up in just a moment. A very special Haftarah that I'll introduce now. I want to again thank everybody who participated in our Torah service, and a big thank you to Leslie and Marvin for figuring that out on the fly.
And to Rabbi Anibal Mas for helping us out from afar. That rabbi, he never stops helping us out.
You did a great job. Thanks. I didn't realize that. Behind the scenes, there's always a million things going on. I appreciate everybody's efforts. Rabbi Mas, thank you. Helping us on your day off. It's a shame, but we really need you. We need each other. This worked out very well. So I'm glad for all the celebrations. And we'll get to the Haftarah in a moment. This Haftarah, it's interesting. The Haftarah for Miketz, for this Parsha, is almost never chanted. Let me explain. That's why today is a special treat. It's a story, actually, that is very famous. It's famous in pop culture. It's inspired an episode of Seinfeld, I know, and probably other stories. And it's just one of those King Solomon wisdom stories that are so famous. Maybe it's the most famous story of King Solomon exercising his wisdom. The two women both claiming to have the baby. You know the story. But it's the Haftarah for Miketz, but we never get to read it. The connection, my guess, is Joseph is an interpreter of dreams, an interpreter of situations. King Solomon, the wise king, a judge, an interpreter of situations. The reason we never get to hear this Haftarah, or hardly ever, is because Miketz is usually the Shabbat in Hanukkah. And when that happens, the Shabbat in Hanukkah gets a special Haftarah that bumps the Haftarah of the Parsha. This year, it works out that last week we had Shabbat Hanukkah. This week we have Miketz, and so we get to hear this very familiar, but so often not chanted publicly Haftarah. So it's a great treat. If you want to follow along, in the Chumash, it's page 271. This story involving King Solomon comes from the book of 1 Kings. That's the book of 1 Kings, chapter 3, verse 15, all the way until chapter 4, verse 1. I mentioned Rocky Pollock, who's standing by, is going to be chanting for us. But just before we get there, we invite you, wherever you are, please stand with us for Hagbah Glila, the lifting and tying of the Sefer Torah, performed by our shamus, Bill Wiseman. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Please be seated. Again, page 271. The book 1 Kings, chapter 3, verse 15, going through the rest of the chapter, and then into verse 1 of chapter 4. Rocky Pollock is with us for the Haftarah. Rocky, please take it away.
You know, Rabbi, I was thinking about this Haftarah in the context of Sherazadik's present infancy as it comes out of an era that we never dreamed we'd be involved in. And King Solomon, of course, made a valid commercial decision, but it was the wrong decision. And the mother of the child knew it. It's to be hoped that the Balabatim and Sharazedik understand that you can't always make business decisions and do the right thing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Amen.
Vayikach Shlomo v'hinei chalon vayavo Yerushalayim vayamod lifnei Aron brit Adonai vayalot vayas shlamim vayas mishtel lechol avadav az tavona shtayim nashim zonot el hamet אל המלך, ותעמוד נא לפניו. ותאמר האישה האחת, בי אדוני, אני והאישה הזאת יושבות בבית אחד, וילד עמה בבית. ויהי ביום השלישי ללידתי, ותלד גם האישה הזאת, ואנחנו יחדיו. אין זר איתנו בבית, זולתי שתיים אנחנו בבית. וימת בן האישה הזאת לילה, אשר שכבה עליו. ותקם בתוך הלילה, ותיקח את בני מצלי, ואמרתך ישנה, ותשכיבהו בחיקה, ואת בנה המת השכיבה בחיקי. וקם בבוקר להניק את בני, והנה מת, ואת בונן אליו בבוקר, והנה לא היה בני אשר ילדתי. ותאמר האישה אחרת לכי, בני החי ובנך המת, וזאת אומרת לכי, בנך המת ובני החי, ודבר נא לפני המלך. ויאמר המלך, זאת אומרת, זה בני החי ובנך המת, וזאת אומרת לכי, בנך המת ובני החי. ויאמר המלך, קחו לי חרב, ויביאו החרב לפני המלך. ויאמר המלך, גזרו את הילד החי לשניים, ותנו את החצי לאחת, ואת החצי לאחת. ותאמר האישה אשר בנה החי אל המלך, כי נכמרו רחמיה על בנה. ותאמר בי אדוני, תנו לה את הילוד החי והמת אל תמיתוהו, וזאת אומרת, גם לי גם לך לא יגזרו. ויען המלך ויאמר, תנו לה את הילוד החי והמת לא תמיתוהו עמו. וישמעו כל ישראל את המשפט אשר שפט המלך, ויראו מפני המלך, כי ראו כי חכמת אלוהים הכיר בו לעשות משפט. ויהי המלך שלמה מלך על כל ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומבורכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו,
מקדש השבת.
Amen. Yasher Koach, Rocky.
Uchtiya.
Thank you so much for doing this Haftarah, which we so often don't get to hear. And thank you for your introductory words as well, something to think about. We appreciate it. Great to have Rocky Pollock, a past president of the synagogue, joining us. He's with us quite often. I won't mention what his handle is because he's got a little bit of anonymity there, but I know he likes it
Thank
that
you,
way.
Rocky. It was so good to see you and hear you this morning. Yasher Koach.
Raki Yashakoyach. Many, many happy returns to doing Haftorah. You always do such a great job. I'm looking forward to you davening, actually, one of these daily services when we get together.
It'll be good. Yes, thanks again, Rocky. And thank you to everybody. So I was kind of catching up on the chat. Great morning. I know we were 10 minutes late getting started. We had some technical difficulties. We had some difficulties during the Torah service. It's already late in the morning. We want to do a couple more things. I don't have a long message, but I feel like I want to tie the Haftarah and the Torah reading together, tell you something that I've been thinking about. Hopefully it will put a nice bow on the morning. Just before we get to that, though, a couple of announcements and the Misha Berach for all of those people we know who are sick. So our announcements are, we've got our Minyans still going strong. Tonight we have Bill Wiseman leading Mariv and Rena Sector Elbaz doing Havdalah. Service starts at 6 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, Bill's got Shacharit at 9 and Mincha Mariv at 6. And then our services continue during the week. Shacharit, Monday through Friday, 7:30. Mincha Mariv, Monday through Thursday, 6 o'clock. Kabbalat Shabbat is every Friday at 5:30. And next Shabbat morning, 10 o'clock. Bill Wiseman, wishing you all the best in a couple of weeks of rest. We've got Bonnie Robinson coming in to help us with a lot of services. Leslie Emery still. Rabbi Mas will finish up his holiday. He'll come back. I'll be away next Shabbat. But we are here. We really appreciate all the times when you are here as well. You've heard about us talking over the last few weeks. The grocery store gift card collection, collecting gift cards for Safeway, Sobeys, Superstore, or Walmart. $25 gift cards for Safeway, Sobeys, Superstore, or Walmart. That's for our friends at JCFS for the holiday season. We still have until Monday. We've collected about half of our goal. So if you could please find time over the weekend and then drop them off here at the synagogue in a sealed envelope during synagogue hours, we'd really appreciate it. That's the $25 gift cards for JCFS for Sobeys, Safeway, Superstore, or Walmart. We're also, for our friends at West Broadway, we can't do our annual Christmas lunch this year because of COVID, but we're collecting $25 food fair gift cards for West Broadway. So we still have until Monday. We've extended the deadline. Please help us out this holiday season with that. Here's another one, last announcement. With the way things are working during this Code Red and COVID restrictions, we need pallbearers. Families are limited with the number of people who can go to a funeral service. It's a very, very difficult time for families who lose a loved one anytime. But here, especially during COVID, when our familiar rituals in Judaism that are thousands of years old, of grieving, of Shiva, of being pallbearers, we just can't do them, we need the help of the community. With only 5 guests from a family allowed in the service, we're allowed to have staff. That includes whoever's officiating, whoever's working the grave, the cemetery staff, but also through the Chesed Shalemis, our volunteer pallbearers count as staff. We just need to grow this list. We have a number of people who volunteer their time. We know it's a big commitment to drive out, to drive back to the cemetery to help us out with this. For every funeral, we need 5 pallbearers as volunteers. So what we're asking is, if you could give Estelle Raber, our funeral director, a call or an email, or even reach out directly to the Chesed Shalemis. This is a community list for all of the synagogues, for Etz Chaim, for Temple Shalom, for Herzliya, for Chabad, wherever, for any of the cemeteries too. If you are able to be a pallbearer, maybe you've done it before, maybe you want to do it, if this is an opportunity for you, if you're in good health, if you're staying safe, please give us a call. It doesn't mean we're going to call you all the time, but we just want to have as many people as possible to call because of how difficult these situations are. And sometimes we get a spike around this time of the year with a lot of funerals, unfortunately. And so we really need pallbearers. So you can call Estelle. You can call the Chesed Shalemis directly. Just give them your contact info. They'll put you on a list and they'll call you as they need you. So please, pallbearers. Okay, that's it for announcements. Now we're going to turn back to the Siddur. So you can put away your Chumash or whatever you're using to follow the Torah service. Go back to our Siddur and to page 34. We have the Misha Berach for all those we know who are sick. I'm going to read a list of names. Remember, you can call the office and add a name to our list for 4 Shabbatot for a month. And then you can also add names during the chat. Leslie will read those before she leads us in this prayer. But this week, we're praying for Leah Bat Adel, Colin Rich, Belachana Bat Rania, Akiva Ben Esther, Rita Vine, Leah Bat Rachel, Devorah Gitel Bat Leah, Binyamin Pinchas ben Dvorah Gittel, Nahum Le ben Leah, Atara bat Etel, Shmuel Le ben Gittel, Stephen Lee, Esther bat Mina, Sarah bat Esther, Yaakov ben Sarah, Shoshana bat Sarah, Adrian McDonald, Frida bat Regina, Moshe Aharon ben Leah, Miriam Rachel bat Leah, Rishon ben Sarah, Yehudi Tova bat Mindel, Hachazan Shefer ben Miriam, Shendel bat Miriam, Aviva bat Malka, Yaakov ben Sion ben Miriam, Isabella bat Sarah, Chaya Zahava bat Leah, Daniel ben Devorah, Bat-Sheva bat Sarah, Yitzchak Dov ben Bela, Rachel bat Sonia, Alfie Glass, Liba bat Gittel, Chaya Leah bat Fega, Rivka Sora bat Leah Malka, Barbara Bader, Bill Adams, Yenta bat Shoshana, Shan de Grace, David Tzvi ben Sarah Pessel, Dina Rachel bat Sarah Esther, Yitzchak Chaim ben Sarah, Tova Yael ben bat Dina Rachel, Eliezer Meir ben Tova Yael, Katriel Yosef ben Tova Yael. Before we get to the Misha Berach, Leslie, you have names from the chat that you could add to, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Cindy Levinson, Elaine Miller, Esther Tzipora bat Ilana, Ilana Rachel bat Eleanor, and Eliezer ben Sarah. Let's join together in Debbie Friedman's beautiful Misha Berach prayer.
Which again is on page 34.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome. May those in need of healing be in a better state of health soon.
We invite you to rise wherever we are as we return the Sefer Torah to the Ark. We're on page 41. Leslie will lead us in Yehalelu.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado. Hodo al eretz b'shamayim, vayarem keren le'amo. Tehila, tehila lecho chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kerovo.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Page 43, it's Chaim He.
Etz Chaim Hi, lama chazikim bo, letomcheya meushar deracheha, darchei noam, techol netivoteha, shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva, Kadesh Yameinu, Kadesh Yameinu.
Please be seated. Yasher koach again to Leslie. Yasher koach to Bill Wiseman. Yasher koach to Marvin Polanski. Got a great team here.
Yasher koach to Rabbi Matthew.
Well, thank you. Doing the best I can. But the team makes it possible. Wow, great job. And love everyone joining us on Shabbat. Sorry that it's been a late service. Don't want to make it too much later. Just wanted to kind of pull everything together with something that I was thinking about with this Parsha. I tried to give a few hints to it earlier, just to recap from what we read today. The theme of recognition is very important. You know, I've been teaching the way into the synagogue for me, also for Leslie, a long time ago, believe it or not, was reading Torah, but also as a bar and bat mitzvah tutor, something that we enjoy doing and to this day. And I don't want to speak for Leslie, but for myself, one of the aggravations, one of the moments that just like, as a teacher, like, is when a kid makes a mistake, it's fine. I've got kids who are always saying, sorry, or apologizing. Stop apologizing. Listen, it's not making a mistake the first time that makes a tutor cringe. It's when you correct it, and then they make the same mistake right away, right after. Am I right? It's a tough moment as a tutor. You're just like,
It's different for everybody, you know?
I won't put Leslie on the spot, but I'll tell you, just to get into what we're talking about here. In my life, I feel like when it comes to a lot of things, I really do feel this way. I feel like I don't have great instincts, that I need to be shown, especially when it's something new. I do much better when I'm shown how to do something. I can pick it up, I can do it, I have something to model, I have something to repeat. I have a lot of trouble getting things right the first time on my own. But I think that this is kind of life. I think that that's one of the tricks, is it's not so much that you're allowed to make mistakes. I think that we need to accept that we are going to make mistakes. And a lot of times when we try something the first time, man, I'm not talking about like a total mistake, a complete abject failure, disaster, but something that can be improved on, right? And the lesson that I learned throughout my life, don't dwell on not getting it right the first time. In spite of what Billy Joel says, getting it right the first time is not the main thing. Get it right the next time. When you're presented in that situation again, did you learn? This is why with my bar mitzvah students, I say, don't make the same mistake a second time. Let's work on fixing that mistake. Making it the first time, who cares? But let's fix it. It's all about recognizing when you're in that similar situation. So, now I think you know where I'm going, brings us back to our Torah story. It's been 20 years since the brothers last saw Joseph. He was a teenager. They were a lot younger. They were mad at him. They were jealous. They had a lot of feelings. They threw him in a pit. They sold him to a group of people passing by. They faked his death. They got rid of him. As you can see from one of the comments in the Torah reading today, actually, they've been harboring guilt, because there's no reason why when they appear in front of this vizier in Egypt that they should be thinking about that. There's nothing that they don't know that this is Joseph. They have no idea. But the fact that they are thinking, oh, this is finally catching up to us, they've been harboring guilt ever since that happened 20 years ago. So a lot of people wonder what Joseph's up to when he creates this elaborate ruse. Why not just reveal himself and reunite? Why? Why throw them in jail for 3 days? Why talk to them deliberately harshly? Why accuse them of being spies? Why keep one of the brothers captive and send them back and say, don't come back until you bring the other brother? Why do all this? I mentioned it before. It's because Joseph really needed to know if they'd changed. I think Joseph's entitled not to be so quick to forgive them. They threw him in a pit. They faked his death. They told their dad that he was gone. Joseph's probably, I guess, not happy, but he when he hears that they're guilty about it, when he sees that they're guilty about it, if he overhears them, which we see he overhears them, he probably gives them a good feeling, but he doesn't know for sure that they've changed. One of the marks, and I think there's a note in this in the Etz Chaim Chumash about tshuva, really changing, really repenting. There's the re in there. There's an opportunity to act a different way when you're faced with a similar situation. Joseph's whole situation, this whole ruse that he establishes, he throws them in jail like they threw him in a pit. He separates Shimon. He takes away another brother to see what they'll do. He forces them to go back and negotiate with their dad to bring Binyamin. He recreates a situation that is very, very similar. That's why there's so many callbacks in this parsha to what happened in last week's parsha to 20 years ago. There's a story in Genesis that's super famous earlier in the book about Avraham, his last test. We read it every year on Rosh Hashanah. And I've studied this a lot. It fascinates me, as it fascinates a lot of people, the binding of Isaac. And a lot of people ask, well, why didn't Avraham kick up a fight with God when God said to him to go offer up Isaac? And it's because I think I've always been convinced that Avraham knew all along it was a test, that he knew something was up because the situation, the way God presented it to him, reminded him of something that had happened earlier in his life. Only once ever did God call Avraham and say, Lech lecha. He said, Lech lecha, me'artzecha, mimoladetcha, mibeit avicha. Go for yourself. This odd expression, leave, and then 3 degrees. Me'artzecha, from your land, mimoladetcha, from your family, mibeit avicha, from your father's house. And later, when he calls him to sacrifice Isaac, he started off by saying, Lech lecha. Take it bincha, et yechidcha, asher ahavta, 3 degrees. And go, and before it was go to the land I will show you, go to the place that I will show you. Avraham knew, he's like, I've heard this before. He recognized the familiarity, the similarity of the situation. And I've been convinced ever since that that's why Avraham doesn't kick up a fuss the way he did for strangers in Sodom and Gomorrah, is because he knew, okay, before God called me like this one other time, and things were pretty good after that. I need to have a little bit of faith. I need to see what's going on here. I'm not actually going to have to offer up my son. That's at least my theory. And I bring it up here because Joseph was trying to send cues to his brothers to see if they would recognize. We know they didn't recognize him. He only recognized them. The question is, were they going to recognize the situation? And that 20 years later, when they were put to a test to stand up in solidarity for a single brother, were they going to just leave Shimon in Egypt? Were they going to be able to go and bring Binyamin back with them? He was creating a situation for them to prove that they had changed, that they had actually done tshuva. Making a mistake the first time, like I said, it's not so much that we're allowed to, but it's going to happen. The second time, that's where you really have an opportunity to demonstrate that you've learned, that you have changed, that you have grown, right? I see this all the time. It happens to me all the time in my life. I think this happens to us a lot, particularly in our personal relationships. People who are very close with, family, friends, they say things that trigger us, and we know we've been down this road before, and yet we get into an argument again. We get into an argument again. We're driving in the car. We know that we're going to have problems when it comes to directions if we get a little bit lost. And rather than handle the situation differently and try and learn from the past experience, we're in a situation again, and yet I find myself saying the same things I always used to say. And then we get into an argument. Why didn't I learn from it? Because it's hard. It's hard, but it's doable. And it's funny because, in the Haftarah, it's this great example of Shlomo, King Shlomo, who's incredibly wise. He was gifted wisdom by God. Was it so much that he was wise in this moment, or was it that he just understood human nature? It's very easy to understand and see human nature in other humans. It's recognizing it in ourselves. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult, especially in the moment. But it can be done. Joseph is putting his brothers in a situation hoping that they will demonstrate it when they get this second chance. And next week's Parsha, we'll see how this unfolds when Joseph accuses Binyamin and says he has to stay back. Judah and the brothers stand up and they defend and they show that they have learned, they show compassion, they show self-sacrifice. They demonstrate to Joseph that really a reunion is possible, that they are capable of and have done their form of tshuva. There's a great line from Albert Einstein that you probably know, that to do the same thing, I'll paraphrase, but to do the same thing over and over and over and over again and expect different results is the definition of insanity. So recognizing the situation, recognizing that we've been here before, and maybe last time we didn't act in the best way. We didn't get it right. But wait, this situation in front of me right now is a lot like that, and now I can learn, I can change, I can act differently and influence the outcome. That's what I've been thinking about with this week's Parsha. I hope it's a message that makes sense to all of you, and that the next time you, like when I try and find myself, particularly in our personal relationships and familiar situations where maybe we didn't act so great in the past, that we can accept this challenge of trying to do our own tshuva, not just once a year, but all the time. When we get these second chances, we get these new opportunities, just like Joseph's brothers did, maybe without recognizing it right away. Shabbat Shalom.
Yesher koach, Rabbi.
Thanks, Bill.
Wonderful
Appreciate it.
wonderful message.
Really appreciate it. Appreciate everyone's help this service. Like I said, Leslie Emery, Bill Weissman, Marvin Polanski, great team here. Rabbi Nibal Mas helping us from a distance as well. And to all of you, thank you so much. We want to conclude our service. We've got Aleinu, the Mourner's Kaddish, and Adon Olam. But we'll go to Aleinu first, page 44. We invite you, wherever you are, please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים מיכאל, ושכינתו זו בגבי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד. We'll ask you to remain standing on page 46 for the Mourner's Kaddish. This week we mourn the passing of Barton Rawson and offer our heartfelt sympathy to Sandra Rawson, Arnold and Beth Rawson, Linda and Robert Berg, and Michael and Michelle Rawson. We also mourn the passing of Bernice Walder and offer our sincere condolences to Alan Walder, Marilyn and Lauren Billenkoff, and Sharon Walder and Lauren Pollock. We also mourn the passing of Zivan Saper and offer our deepest sympathy to Tana Saper, Avi and Rochelle Saper, and Art and Marcia Saper. We extend our condolences to families in Shloshim, still in the first month of losing their loved one, the families of Rose Shell, Marjorie Kay, Alan Schneer, Esther Israels, Annette Rosenberg, and Sheila Streifler. And this week we commemorate the Yortzites of Michael Paul, son of Robert and Elaine Paul, Sam Rosenberg, father of Mavis Minnick, Jack Yasha Furman and Ida Furman, grandparents of Lori Zimmer, Julius Ripp, uncle of Morley Ripp, Abe Farkas, father of Karen Farkas, Richard Michael Farkas, brother of Karen Farkas, Liba Raber, grandmother of Lauren Raber, Ralph Zellickson, uncle of Louise Raber and Elaine Gamer, Rose Reish, mother of Lorraine Reiner, Joseph Winters, father of Edward Winters, Sonia Chula, mother of Glory Fleischer, Jacob and Hanshin Wasserman, father-in-law and mother-in-law of Jackie Wasserman, and Esther Ginpol.
all of blessed memory. Again, on page 46, we invite you to remain standing as we join together in the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. B'gala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'pa'ar v'tromam v'itnaseh. V'ithadar v'itale v'ithalal shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav. Huyaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru
Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Thank you again, everyone, for your patience, especially. Really glad things worked out. It was a really special morning, as it always is, Shabbat morning here at Sharet Zedek. We have you to thank for that. So, what Adon Olam, Leslie, would you like to do to send everybody home?
I think you know.
Well, I think they're already home. I actually don't.
You don't?
Well, are you talking about the Adon Olam Asher Malach?
I think so.
Maybe that didn't help as much. The Yeshiva Boys Choir one?
Let's do it.
Give me your note again. I didn't write it down from last. I think it's in, maybe, is it here? Is it?
I can make that work. Let's do it.
You think that'll do it?
Yep.
Okay. So page 47, thank you to everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Alice-
Shalom. Special shout out to Lauren and Bonnie Cham on their anniversary. I'm sorry we didn't hear you, but we saw you, and it was so nice to see you all this morning. Happy birthdays. Shabbat Shalom.
Lauren's never going to let me live that one down, I can tell
Shabbat
you.
Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. This is a very danceable Adon Olam, right?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, I hope I got the right key. Here we go. Page 47.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Let Nasa B'chefto Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Let Nasa B'chefto Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra. Ve'acharei kichlot hakol, Levado yimloch nora. Ve'hu haya, ve'hu hova, ve'hu yihyeh v'tifarach. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra. Let Nasa B'chefto Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra. Ve'hu echad ve'ein sheni, Le'am Shilo le'achbira. Ve'li reshit ve'li tachlit, ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamisra. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra. Let Nasa B'chefto Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra. Ve'hu Eli v'chai goli, V'tzur chevli v'etzara. Ve'hu nisi umanos li menat kosi beyom ekra. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra. Let Nasa B'chefto Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra. Ve'yado apkid ruchi, Ve'tishan ve'aira. Ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira. Adon olam, asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nivra. Le'nasa v'chefso kol, azai melech shemo nikra. Adon olam, asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nivra. Le'nasa v'chefso kol, azai melech shemo nikra.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
See you next time.